Gail Carson Levine was born September 17, 1947, and grew up in Washington Heights, Manhattan. Levine grew up in a creative environment. Her father had an interest in writing, her mother wrote full plays for her students, and her sister was a painter. In high school, she often performed in her school's plays and wanted to be an actress when she grew up. Though she had been writing poems since third grade, Levine never thought that she would one day become a writer, and any possibility of that dream was destroyed by her high school creative writing teacher, who once told her, "You know your problem? You're a pedestrian." And from then on, she lost her confidence. She dabbled in writing, such as her co-written musical Space Napped. Levine graduated college with what she claims is a useless philosophy degree, and then spent 27 years working for the New York State government. One day, Levine asked herself why, since she adored stories, she never made up any. So she began to write and illustrate children's books, and even took a class to aid her. However, she quickly discovered that she preferred the writing over the illustrating. She wrote her first novel, Dave at Night, which was based on her father's childhood as an orphan. However, that novel didn't take off immediately, it wasn't very popular, and no one wanted to publish it, but soon after she wrote Ella Enchanted, and her career skyrocketed from there. Gail Carson Levine has written many books, including children's picture books and small series for younger readers, but she's also written a number of novels, and the three that I've chosen to focus on for this project were Ella Enchanted, Fairest, and The Wish. Levine has loved to read since she was little, and fairy tales were always her favorite because the story, the what comes next, is paramount. As an adult, she has chosen to base her novels off of fairy tales because she is fascinated by their logic and illogic. But Levine has a unique way of looking at the storyline, something that she claims was inspired by her favorite author, Mark Twain, by turning events upside down, sideways, backwards, or just showing the story from a new angle. From this new perspective, Levine ends up providing logic behind the plotline that allows the story to make more sense. For example, as I mentioned in my book talk a few weeks ago, the unique aspect of Levine's Ella Enchanted is that Ella is cursed to be obedient. What inspired this novel was the unanswered question of why Cinderella almost blindly obeyed her stepmother and step-siblings. To Levine, the only thing that made sense was that she was under a spell. In Snow White, the combination of black, white, and red was a supposedly very beautiful combination, but Levine struggled with how these clashing tones could possibly be beautiful together. She thought the colors would probably make a person look rather awkward, and thus she created the character of Ozza within her novel Fairest. The lesson from Ella Enchanted is that everyone must decide what is best for them and what will provide them with what they want, and ignore whether others are upset or disappointed by that choice. The idea of being forced to be obedient is not really that abstract, which is exactly what Levine hoped readers would realize. On her website, Levine explains that when she is pressured to do something, she tends to knuckle under. Most people succumb to the pressures of guilt, obligation, etc., and sometimes the thing asked of them can get out of hand. Levine wants readers to learn balance in Ella Enchanted. It is not good to be completely rebellious or uncaring of others' desires, but it is just as bad to be fully obedient. The main theme of The Wish is not a new one, to thine own self be true, but it places this concept within a modern setting, and Levine requires her readers to question the silly social system set up in middle school. Fairest makes the readers see that true beauty is on the inside. Fairy tales have a long history of exploring just this theme, trying to make moral sense out of the arbitrary rewards of physical beauty. Because it discusses this topic, the novel is an important one for young teenage girls to read, and boys for that matter. Ozza constantly receives cruelties and rejection because of her appearance, but it is her inner beauty that eventually wins. In many of her novels, Levine asks readers how powerful is love? What would you do for a friend, and what would you risk for someone else? Her novels prove that friendship and love outweigh the limitations that we have. After completing her novels, readers will understand that people will do almost anything, even risk their own lives, for their friends and loved ones. Love is a powerful force that causes people to let go of their limits. And finally, love and friendship is usually what motivates people. After reading The Wish, readers are left asking, does being popular really make someone better off? And after reading the novel Fairest, readers are forced to ask, does beauty really make you better? The question that Levine forces readers to consider is, what is a hero? Levine provides heroines who do not let life happen to them, as traditional fairy tale princesses usually do, but instead take charge. In today's modern world, men and women, adults and children can all be heroes. Levine proves this within many of her novels. As she retells the story, she creates much smarter, braver, and stronger lead heroines that do not simply wait for their charming princes to charge in and save the day. Instead, these women can think for themselves and act how they want. The females in Levine's stories have to step outside of their comfort zone and face their fears head-on in order to save themselves. In summary, Levine's use of traditional fairy tale constructs makes it easier for kids when they are just starting to read literature, because they can still see the basic outline but also see how the story has been altered. Thus, works that retell traditional tales give students a sense of comfort that allows them to feel secure when first entering the world of literary analysis. Novels also teach important life lessons that students often begin to struggle with in middle school. Finally, Gail Carson Levine is an important author for young adults to read because the modernization of a traditional fairy tale forces readers to further analyze the story in order to spot the differences. In addition, Levine's works requires readers to ask essential questions that can help them understand their world more fully.